It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Friday, the 27th of September. I'm Michael Groff. You know what I'm going to tell you already. The late season heat wave continues. More records will fall by the wayside through the weekend and into at least the first half of next week. And the questions keep pouring in. When can we expect some relief from this heat? What's causing this heat in the first place? When is it going to end? What about rain chances? Well, we're going to try and find those answers as we dive on in and talk about it. But before we do, it is Friday, and that means it's Photo Friday here. That's where we take a look at some of the photos and or videos that you guys have submitted. And first up, David Parnell. I believe this is Mililani High School, if I'm saying that right, down there in Hawaii. Yes, David's heading down to the tropics to get some relief from the heat. And not bad, actually. He says temperatures in the 80s. It was muggy. There was some showers around, but good time to head down to Hawaii. I don't think it's ever really a bad time. And then Chris Martin, speaking of traveling, heading from Charlotte to Chicago. And when you do that, I highly encourage you to look outside, check it out, take a photo or two, send it on in. Beautiful stuff. And he says, it's great to just see some clouds. I know, right? We haven't seen clouds in a while around here, not many. Speaking of clouds, and how about this? Storm chasing, courtesy of Tyler. Yes, we haven't heard from Tyler in a while, our young storm chaser. And he's got some great lightning shots here from earlier in the summer. And a little info about Tyler. He has gone now. He has left the Valley. Sophomore year, pursuing his meteorology degree at Oklahoma. We wish him the best. Very, very knowledgeable young man. Can't call him a kid anymore. He's a young man. And pretty soon he'll be, you know what? He'll take over these videos one day. We'll hand the reins over. But before that, let's get you some more of these photos here from Beth in North Phoenix. Beautiful shots from last Friday. And of course, her garden grows, as does ours. The backyard going pretty strong over here at Studio B as well. And the plants, they continue to grow. And that's good. Despite the dry and very hot weather, everything is still going. My allergies will tell you that too. My goodness. All right, now this is from Miles Sampson out at Palm Desert, California. And why am I showing you this? He sent me this graphic. And you thought it was dry here in Phoenix. Well, Palm Desert's been pretty dry for the last year. I mean, check that out. Not many days with rainfall in Palm Desert. So, you know, it's been the same story across much of the Southwest. Well below average precipitation in most places. Some spots had a kind of halfway decent monsoon, but most spots saw below average precipitation. And certainly out of Palm Desert, it's been really since late February, March, since they've really had any appreciable rain. And he has some pictures from the Southern California there, from the Palm Desert area, looking at a distant storm out there toward Joshua Tree. Then, of course, last but not least, it's Ryan Seek, who says that his photo bag, his camera bag is collecting dust now, as looks like our season is long over with, but he did send in some pictures that he had from earlier in the summer, and he'll probably send in some more of all the different storms that went on. Yes, it was a lackluster monsoon, but how Ryan works is if there are any storms to be found anywhere in this state, and I don't know how he does it, all right? He's the storm whisperer. He somehow manages to find these things. They do seem to pop up in his neck of the woods down there south of the valley, down on Interstate 8 between Gila Bend and Casa Grande. A very common spot for those storms to develop, but that's good, and so we'd love to see those. That's the latest from Ryan Seek. So kind of the wrap up of some of those photos. He'll probably have some more that he'll send in. We do love to see those. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, everybody. We can't do this feature without you. It's called Photo Friday. Every Friday, we do try to do that. And groffshow@gmail.com is the email address. If you want to submit your photos or videos, it's groffshow@gmail.com for Photo Friday. All right, let's get into it. Here's the almanac from yesterday. I mean, I don't know why we're doing this, because it's just painful and miserable, but, for the sake of tradition, 110 degrees the afternoon high. Another record broken, of course. 82 the morning low, 97 and 74 are the averages for this time of year. And people say, well, it's always hot in the desert, Mike. Big news, it's hot in the desert. It's never been this hot this late in the season here on record in Phoenix. Speaking of records, all right, here we go. 63 days now with a high temperature at or above 110 degrees, 124 days. Now, keep in mind, this is actually as of yesterday. We've tacked on to this today because as we look outside right now, just before 1 p.m., we've got sunny sky. We're at 106 degrees at Sky Harbor. So that's day number 125 now with a high at or above 100 this year. Dew points at 38, so it's very dry. Relative humidity 10%, a light wind and the barometer falling. Why is it so hot? People keep asking, what's the cause of this heat, Mike? Well, it's very simple. High pressure. High pressure, not only high pressure, but unusually strong high pressure is just sitting right over top of us. And when you have high pressure, it creates sinking air, subsidence, air that moves down. As air sinks, it compresses, it warms. And even though we have much less sun than we did in the middle of July, the ground is very dry. There's not much soil moisture. The air is very dry, so the sun heats the ground heats the air very efficiently still at this time of the year, and so it is still very, very hot. Now, you do see that spin in the clouds off of the Southern California, northern Baja coast. That's an upper low, but for now, that's not really going to impact our weather. But it is out there. It's a feature we'll keep an eye on, but high pressure is in control. The watch warning map. Now, the good news is all of our tropical storm warnings, hurricane warnings, they're coming off the board now as Helene has weakened into a tropical depression. It's becoming a post-tropical system, just an upper low. But that doesn't mean its effects are gone. We still have that circulation center spinning around. And so as a result, lots of rain. I mean, just yesterday, in Asheville, North Carolina, they had almost 10 inches of rain, and they've had quite a bit more since midnight. And there's been widespread 5 to 10 inch amounts of rain. And that extends from Florida all the way up to the Great Smoky Mountains, the Appalachians. And there's a number of flood and flash flood warnings that are ongoing over parts of the Carolinas, Virginia. Flood advisories around. We still have wind advisories across a good portion of Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, down into parts of Alabama, Georgia, because the system is still out there. It's still spinning around and it's being absorbed by another upper low. We have some tornado warnings because on the east side of the system, the positive vorticity side of this system, you still get those little spin-up tornadoes. They're very hard to warn for. They're not generally long-lasting, but they can still do some damage. And so that's been a concern. So that is still ongoing with that. And obviously, the devastation from Helene coming in last night is a Category 4, not too far east, a little bit east of Carabel, up in the Big Bend of Florida. That thing came in, and really, I mean, over 1 million people still without power. They're doing their best to get the power back on, but in some spots, it could be weeks before the power is restored. Now, fortunately, where this storm came in is not the most heavily populated part of Florida. Okay, this is not Miami, this is not Orlando, this is not Tampa, this is not Jacksonville, but still, considerable damage was done to the residents in the path, and even up into Tallahassee and South Georgia, Waycross, Georgia, really got slammed. Absolutely slammed by this thing. Waycross up to Athens, Georgia. I mean, I was seeing some pictures coming in from a number of places. Although, I mean, even up in Atlanta, they had trees down. And up into the Carolinas, there was a number of tornadoes that touched down and confirmed tornado damage. So, you know, this is a widespread area of damage that was done. Obviously, North Florida, South Georgia was the worst of it, but still, this will be a problem for the next day or so. And a lot of rain is still falling with that. So now for us, we've got an excessive heat warning in effect, and it's been extended through Tuesday at 8 p.m. That is the 1st of October, folks, and we're still talking about excessive heat around here. Convective outlook for today, obviously, with the circulation center of Helene, what's left over of Helene across Kentucky. East of there, we do have a threat for severe storms for parts of the Carolinas, Virginia, and the tropics. Now, this picture is looking a bit more active. All right, Helene is coming off the board. We have Hurricane Isaac out there. We've got a couple of waves. We have a new tropical storm. That's Joyce. So let's talk about this. First of all, there's also this area of disturbed weather that we're going to have to watch for, the potential of developing out in the Southwest Caribbean once again. Yeah, that looks very familiar. Now, we'll talk about some of that in modeling in a second, but that's always a feature to watch for. And another tropical wave coming off the African coast that we'll keep an eye on. You got Joyce, you got Helene, you got Isaac. All right, Isaac is a fish storm. Okay, this is not going to impact anyone. It's a hurricane, and it will remain so for a while, but then this is going to eventually start to fizzle out, become post-tropical. Joyce, this will impact no one in all probability. This is going to start to gain latitude and fizzle out eventually. This is kind of one of those nothing burger kind of storms. And then Helene, this is now a tropical depression. It's going to continue to weaken. It's going to get absorbed by this other low, kind of just become a big, broad circulation across Kentucky, and that's where it's going to stay for the next couple of days. But that means it'll still produce rain, and it's still going to be problematic. It may produce some isolated tornadoes for the next day or so. So obviously that's still an issue, but obviously the worst of this is over. All right, the precipitation outlook valid through Friday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, nothing. Statewide, nothing. Region-wide, not much to be found either, as we do expect conditions to mostly stay dry. I say mostly because there could be a small caveat that the models are starting to pick up on, and we'll talk about that right now as we get to those models. Take a look. This is the GFS. It's the 12Z run. It's valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. All right, upper low that's kind of absorbing Helene that's sitting there across Kentucky and Tennessee. We've got ridging here across the southwest and that upper low off the Southern California coast. And what it means for us down at the surface for the rest of the day today. How about sunny? How about hot? All right, highs, yeah, they could be anywhere from 109 to 113. You heard me correctly. So that obviously is just more record heat. All right, for tonight, clear, warm, mid-70s in the cool spots, low to mid-80s in the urban core. Yeah, not 90s at least, because the humidity is down and the nights are longer, but we're still in the 80s in late September. That'll probably break another record warm low temperature. And then tomorrow, this is likely the hottest day of the forecast period. Sunny, very hot, highs 111 to 115. The latest guidance, the National Blend of Models is trying to push us up to 116. Believe that? It's September the 28th, and we're talking about 115 plus. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Of course, we're dry. Sunday temps might back off a couple of degrees, but we're still going to be 110 plus. And even going into next week, it's still hot on Monday. Highs right around 110. Same story on Tuesday, but look what's happening here. We go to Tuesday as we go to Wednesday, a weak upper low. That upper low that's off the Southern California coast may kind of linger around, drift a little east, set up across northern Baja. And what may happen is a little bit of moisture may get drawn up in here, and the GFS is even trying to paint some isolated showers and thunderstorms across the area on Wednesday. And is this possible? I suppose it is, but at this point, the vast majority of model guidance keeps us dry. So we don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but look, we're in early October. You'd hope that something could break this heat, but this little upper low, and there's not much moisture to draw on, but if it sits there long enough, maybe we could start to draw a little bit of moisture on up here. There is this, we've got Tropical Storm John that's down there off the coast of Mexico, and a little bit of that moisture may try to work its way northwestward up this way too. We're going to keep an eye on how that plays out. Models are kind of handling that very differently, but right now, at this point, we're going to keep the forecast dry and hot with highs probably around 103 to 108 for next Wednesday. I remind you, Wednesday is the 2nd of October, but we're still going to be breaking records. Here's Thursday. Again, isolated showers and thunderstorms may be possible over the higher terrain of northern and eastern Arizona if this verifies. And that's a big if, but it's something. And again, at this point, we're keeping our forecast dry, but we are going to watch these model trends. We'll see what happens. October is a strange month in Phoenix. It's a feast or famine month, historically. Oftentimes, it is a dry month. But when things happen, when storm systems do happen around here, when we get weather that turns active, it can turn very active, and we can have some unusual events that happen here. And that is very true for the month of October. So we'll see. Well, here's to hoping. So Thursday looks like high temperatures would trend down a little further, but when I say trend down, we're still ridiculously above average. Highs around 101 to 105 if this is right. Here's a week from today. This is Friday, the 4th of October, and that's still looking dry and very warm with ridging generally from the southwest U.S. all the way up into the northern plains and extending through a fair portion of the lower 48, actually. You've got troughing along the Pacific Northwest coast. That's about the only area that will see average or below average temperatures and maybe some precipitation. Now, as we go out 10 days, this is Sunday, the 6th of October. The GFS indicates a little trough cutting across the Rockies and clipping the Four Corners, and that might lower temperatures a bit further, maybe down into the 90s, dare I say it. And the GFS indicates a little upper low over the southeast U.S. What the GFS is not showing, which is what it had shown for the last couple of days, is a tropical system over the Gulf of Mexico. It does not have that on this run. Does that mean there won't be one? No. What it means is it's not on the board now, and none of the other models, at least the major global models here, the European, same time. Again, this is Sunday, the 6th of October. It's not showing a tropical system out there either. What it does show, unfortunately, is a very strong ridge out here in the west, and we'd see temperatures continuing to just sizzle. In fact, if the European was right, we'd probably still be around 105 degrees, if not warmer. And then the European AIFS, the artificial intelligence version of the European, it's got a trough cutting into the plain states, and it's got a very strong ridge along the west coast, upper heights here around 588 decameters. Oh my goodness. I mean, again, just sizzling hot if this is right. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix off the GFS ensemble. There are a few members here. There are some members that are starting to pick up on some precipitation, but rain amounts are still under 1/10 of an inch. Again, we're going to watch model trends. This was showing basically nothing the last few days, so maybe there's something to be had there. The European says no, there isn't, because the European ensemble it loves to kill our dreams. And temperatures off the national blend of models. Do we have to look at this graphic? Can we just go back to, Photo Friday? Say, here's Ryan Seek. Here, let's look at his stuff. We don't want to look at that graphic, do we? I guess we have to. All right, we'll look at it. Here we go. It's got us at 116 tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to look. It does say, my eyes are not great, but that does say 116 for tomorrow, if you can believe it. And then temperatures will trend down thereafter. Trend down, still well above 100 degrees over the next 10 days. Unreal. All right, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here on Monday morning. Of course, updates before that if necessary. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you really like what we do here, then click that thanks icon below the video, make those monetary contributions, or you can donate directly to us via PayPal. Groffshow@gmail.com is the PayPal address. It's GROFF show@gmail.com for PayPal. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my one and only, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation, and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle, check her out. Check out everything Michelle related, linked up down in the description. And for Michelle plus Mike related stuff, you can also check out our streaming station, available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun with that. That's also linked up in the description. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, all of your continued support. We could not do these videos without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be safe. And oh my God, please stay cool, stay hydrated, stay indoors. It's ridiculous. Give yourself the day off tomorrow. Don't bother going out in that. And have yourselves a great Friday and a wonderful weekend.